Greetings, fellow DC fans, and welcome to the first and sadly only episode of DCEUcember 2024. As today we're going to be taking a look at the final film in the DC Extended Universe, Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom. So, yeah, anyway, without further ado, let's take a look at it. 4 years after becoming the King of Atlantis, Arthur Curry has married Mira and had a son, Arthur Jr., while splitting his life between land and sea. Meanwhile, David Kane/Black Manta continues to seek revenge against Arthur for his father's death, working with marine biologist Stephen Shin to find Atlantean artifacts. When Shin accidentally discovers the cavern in Antarctica, Manta finds a black trident that possesses him, its creator promising him to give the power to destroy Arthur and Atlantis. 5 months later, Manta breaks into an orichalcum reserve on Atlantis to steal them to power his Atlantean machines that are of ancient origin but are of unknown design to modern Atlanteans. They are caught midway and chased by Atlantean forces, with Mira injured in the ensuing battle. Arthur learns that this use of orichalcum, which emits high quantities of greenhouse gases, has not only raised planetary temperatures and caused extreme weather and ocean acidification, but nearly caused a planetary extinction in the past when used by an ancient Atlantean kingdom. To learn where Manta is hiding, Arthur breaks his half-brother Orm out of prison, and they visit a pirate haven called the Sunken Citadel, meeting Kingfish to learn of Manta's whereabouts. The information they obtain leads them to a volcanic island in the South Pacific, where they battle Manta's forces after getting themselves through flora and fauna mutated by the orichalcum. There, Orm touches the black trident, which shows him visions of its provenance. Orm learns that the trident was created by Kordax, the brother of King Atlan and the ruler of the lost kingdom of Nekris. Kordax was imprisoned with blood magic following a failed attempt to usurp the throne. By saying the blood of any Atlan's descendants could release Kordax, the pair deduced Manta as kin of Arthur Jr. with Shin's help. The Atlanteans determined that Kordax's prison and the lost kingdom of Nekris are located in Antarctica. In the Nekris, Arthur fights Manta and is almost killed before Mira arrives and saves him. Manta throws the black trident at Mira, but Orm catches it before it strikes her. The spirit Kordax leaves Manta for Orm, who proceeds to fight Arthur and uses Arthur's blood to free Kordax. Arthur convinces his brother to give up his hatred for him, allowing him to destroy both Kordax and the black trident. Kordax's magic vanishing, Nekris starts to collapse. Manta refuses Arthur's help and allows him to fall into a fissure. The Atlanteans and Shin safely escape and decide that Orm has redeemed himself. They plan to inform Atlantis that Orm died on the condition he remains hidden, vacating to the surface world. Believing the unification of the underwater kingdoms in the surface world is necessary to prevent further damage to the oceans and planet, Arthur reveals Atlantis' existence through an announcement at the United Nations, declaring his intentions of making the kingdom a member state. Interesting. So let's take a look at the production of this film, beginning with the development. During the production of Aquaman, star Jason Momoa developed a story pitch for a sequel that he gave to Warner Brothers Pictures Group chairman Toby Emmerich and producer Peter Safran. In October 2018, before the film's release, Momoa said he would be more involved in the development of a potential sequel and expected filming to begin in 2019. Director James Wan said several storylines could spin out from Aquaman, with that film introducing 7 underwater kingdoms that had yet to be fully explored. Momoa and his producing partner Brian Mendoza wrote a 50-page treatment for the sequel, which Warner Brothers bought but did not entirely follow, and the actors paid $15 million for his involvement. Emmerich had no confidence in the box office projections for the film by early December to begin discussing a sequel. By the end of January 2019, when Aquaman was set to become the highest-grossing film based on a single DC Comics character, Warner Brothers was in negotiations with Wan to oversee the development and writing of a sequel with the potential to return as director. Goff Boucher of Deadline Hollywood noted that Wan had been very protective of sequels to his previous films Insidious and The Conjuring, and was deeply invested in the world building of Aquaman. Wan had previously compared the world of Aquaman to other fictional worlds such as Middle-earth, the Star Wars galaxy, and the Wizarding World. In early February 2019, Warner Brothers hired Noah Gardner and Aidan Fitzgerald to write the script for a horror-tinged Aquaman spin-off film titled The Trench, based on one of the kingdoms introduced in the first film. It was expected to have a smaller budget and not feature the main cast of Aquaman, with Juan and Saffron producing it. Boris Kidd of The Hollywood Reporter reported then that there had not yet been serious discussions about a direct sequel to Aquaman between the studio, Juan and Momoa, due to them wanting to have a breather first. But several days later, he reported that active development on a sequel was getting underway with the film's first co-writer and Rick One collaborator, David Leslie Johnson McGoldrick, signing on to write the screenplay. Juan and Saffron were producing the sequel, however. It was still unclear if Juan would direct it. At the end of February, Warner Bros. Scheduled Aquaman 2 for release on December 16, 2022. Next month, Saffron explained that he and Juan did not want to rush a sequel, and Warner Bros. Had been supportive of that, which is why the film's release was scheduled for 4 years after the first film. He added that they were approaching the Aquaman franchise similarly to the Conjuring universe, with spin-offs like The Trench exploring stories about the underwater kingdoms alongside the Mothership films featuring Aquaman. Saffron and Juan knew the architecture, the armory, the military, the look, the feel, and the general vibe of each of the seven kingdoms and wanted to explore them in all future projects. In July 2019, Juan was set to direct the film *Malignant* before beginning work on Aquaman 2. Patrick Wilson said in November that he had discussed plans for the sequel with Juan and indicated that he would be pressing his role as Orm Marius/Ocean Master for the first film. A month later, Abdul-Mateen II confirmed that he was returning as David Kane/Black Manta and was looking to flesh out the character. Justin McGoldrick stated in March 2020 that the sequel would not be based on a specific comic book. It was taking inspiration for the Aquaman stories of the Silver Age comic books that featured Black Manta as the villain. Juan was confirmed to be directing the sequel at the virtual DC Fandom event in August, when Wilson was also confirmed to return. Juan said it would be more serious than the first film and feature themes that were more relevant to the real world, such as climate change. He said the creatives were not afraid to address this in a big way through the film, saying that the Aquaman character is environmentally conscious in the comic books and fights to keep the ocean clean. He also affirmed that the film would remain a fun action fantasy movie. Momoa said a scene was featured in the film in which Aquaman addresses the United Nations on climate change, with the actor also having done so at the UN's Ocean Conference. Juan added that the film would include more world-building and exploration of the underwater kingdoms, and will feature some horror elements similar to the trench sequence in the first film. Being able to expand on the world building of the first film was one of the key reasons that Juan chose to direct the sequel, along with Justin McGoldrick's script, which Juan felt had a really cool story to bring all these characters back, and then growing them in a big way. Saffron felt embracing the mythic nature of the Aquaman character and pairing that with the film's world building and visual storytelling made the film compelling, and he and Momoa believed the film's humor exceeded that of the first film, while Juan said Aquaman was at the center of the film with his charm and humor. Amber Heard debunked rumors in November 2020 that she would not be pressing role as Mera for the first film, following allegations of domestic abuse made against her by her ex-husband Johnny Depp. That month, a petition to have Heard fired from the franchise received more than 1.5 million signatures. It came after Warner Bros. Removed Depp from Fantastic Beasts: The Secrets of Dumbledore, and allegations made by the son that Depp abused Heard were to be substantially true in a defamation lawsuit filed by Depp against his son. Saffron said they never considered making the film without Heard and would not react to the pure fan pressure of the petition and other social media conversations. However, Heard later stated during a defamation trial brought against her by Depp over a column in the Washington Post that they didn't want to include her in the film, and that she had to fight to keep her part. She claimed that revisions were made to the script that reduced her role to a very pared-down version, including movie action sequences for her character. She was unable to renegotiate her option contract that stipulated she would earn $2 million for the sequel, which is double what she made for the first film. By that point, in May 2022, the petition to have Heard removed from the film had received more than 4 million signatures. DC Films president Walter Hamada testified during Depp and Heard's defamation trial the studio did consider recasting Mera. This was due to concerns over Heard's lack of chemistry with Momoa rather than the abuse allegations. He added that it was the studio's philosophy to hold people to their options and to not renegotiate contracts. Instead, the size of Heard's role had not changed during the development of the sequel. I might explain that the film was always intended to be a buddy comedy that focused on the relationship between Aquaman and Orm. Saffer compared this relationship to that of Nick Nolte and Eddie Murphy's characters in the film 48 Hours. One said the film was written as a bromance action adventure story focused on that relationship with the two brothers overcoming their differences to save the world, compared to the first film, which focused on Aquaman's relationship with Mera. Tatiana Siegel at Variety reported that Heard had been nearly fired from the sequel after the first film's release due to the chemistry concerns. These plans were abandoned after her ex-boyfriend Elon Musk intervened. Siegel also reported that the lack of chemistry narrative had been disputed, saying that Heard had performed a chemistry test with Momoa on the first film and had been cast over two other actresses, including Abby Lee. Heard described her experience with Momoa and one of the film set as hostile, which was refuted by a DC spokesperson who called the production positive and collaborative. The defamation trials jury found that both Heard and Depp defamed each other, with Heard having defamed Depp on 3 counts and Depp having defamed her on 1 count. Social media responses to the trial heavily favored Depp over Heard, with several millions of videos mocking her testimony. In June 2022, reports emerged that Heard had been fired for the film following the trial, but these were also debunked. Heard ultimately appeared for around 20 minutes in the film, with 2 of her scenes, a fight scene with sequels Black Manta and a love scene with Momoa, probably cut during production. Several commentators noted upon the film's release that many of Heard's scenes had been removed and that the remaining scenes appeared to be clunky and awkward. Actor Dolph Lundgren, who played Mira's father in Nereus, said that he and Heard had larger roles in the original cut and script before they were reduced during reshoots. And now on to pre-production. In February 2021, Lundgren stated he was reprising his role as Nereus in the sequel, with him expected to begin later that year in London. A month later, the planned start date for the film was revealed to be in June, although there was potential for this to be impacted by the COVID-19 pandemic. Richard Sale also revealed to be serving as a costume designer, after previously serving as an assistant costume designer in DC's Wonder Woman 1984. DCEUcember created red and blue glowing super Illuminova prop watches for the film, which were owned by Abdul-Mateen II in Randall Park. In April, Warner Bros. And DC announced that the development of the trench was no longer moving forward, with the studios not having room for the spin-off on their slated films, and believing Aquaman 2 to be nothing but an expansion of the franchise for the time being. One later revealed that the trench had been the working title and a misdirect for a planned Black Manta film. Later that month, Pilu Asbeg, sorry I mispronounced that, entered talks to join the film's cast. Momoa said in May that he would begin filming in July, and Wan announced a month later that the sequel was titled Aquaman the Lost Kingdom, while Tamora Morrison confirmed his return as Aquaman's father, Thomas Curry. Willem Dafoe was also reported to be present as well as Nuitas Volko for the first film, but he ultimately did not appear, which was attributed to scheduling conflicts. The director felt that Volko's absence allowed for Orlando's role to be expanded as her son's advisor on how the underwater world works. And now on to filming. Principal photography began at Warner Bros. Studios Leavesden in Watford, England on June 18, 2021, using 5 stages, the studio backlot, and an external tank. Filming occurred on the working title Necris, a reference to the Lost Underworld Kingdom of Necris, which debuted in Aquaman number 360 from 1966 as an unstable underwater city, also known as the Black City, rivaling Atlantis that cannot be in the same location twice and originated from an alien satellite. Commentators felt this working title played Necris would be featured in the film, which was later confirmed. One set design of the Lost Kingdom of Necris was fun, detailing it as a society with various vehicles and weapons, such as the women-operated machines called Octobots that move in and out of water, which Orm encounters. With the kingdom's design, he was inspired by the Aquaman comics from the Silver Age of comic books in the 1960s and their retro vibe. One felt Antarctica and its landscape was familiar while remaining largely unvisited by much of the world, which allowed him to explore a heightened version of it in The Lost Kingdom. For The Lost Kingdom, the creators incorporated ancient Atlantean technology that was more advanced than typical modern technology used by humans and incorporated in the uniforms and weapons of Black Manta's crew, his closest submarine, and the Octobots. The kingdom featured a retro sci-fi look similar to what the Silver Age comics in the 1950s believed the future would have looked like, evoking a different age but with a modern spin. Many of the crew members returned from the first film, including Don Burgess as the cinematographer and Bill Bresky as production designer, with the latter serving alongside Sabi Mahalia. The special effects and visual effects crew invented new technology and VFX rigs for the underwater scenes of the film, so it would be easier for the actors to shoot their scenes, with 100 cameras capturing the performances and action scenes, which was then applied to the 3D versions of the actors. The new setup came after Wan found the rigging system used for the first film to be complex and because it caused physical pain for the actors with its equipment. Wan believed the new setup was more versatile and safe. Wan said the creatives wanted the sequel to provide a more immersive and exciting experience for audiences while expanding the story and characters, and explained that the depiction of Atlantis in the film was expanded upon from the first film by providing the city depths, residential areas, and an arena inspired by Times Square, also explaining some of its politics. Atlantis was given more color and vibrancy. Saffron felt the different look and feel of Atlantis was still anchored in what audiences liked from the first film, while still feeling fresh and new, highlighting one's ability to capture the fantasy and colors of the new worlds being explored. To create the various underwater worlds and creatures, one of the creatives transitioned away from the blue screen method used in the first film, instead used the new eyeline studio technology, which saw the actors in circular booths surrounded by 136 cameras. Producer Rob Cohen said changed the creative and practical methods of shooting the film. One said in August 2021 that the sequel was strongly influenced by the film Planet of the Vampires, which was old school Euro horror and the stop motion monsters created by animator Ray Harryhausen. He said the film had a very retro look, similar to the horror films of the 1960s, and featured unsettling mechanical creatures which had an old school sci-fi and horror feeling, which was connected to Black Manta's role in the film. Brzezinski compared the film to Harryhausen's work on the films The Seventh Voyage of Sinbad and Jason the Argonauts, for being a fantastical adventure with great quest and monsters, such as the deserter tribe which are located in the Sahara Desert and evolved into vampiric creatures by relying on blood for moisture, while incorporating issues modern audiences could relate to. Wilson said they pushed the fight scenes and stunts further than the first film, in addition to exploring the characters' relationships. He also revealed that the character Topo, an octopus playing drums, appears in the film. One said that, following the positive reception to Topo's brief appearance in the first film, he and Jason McGoldrick decided to give the character a significant role in the sequel. They believe the inclusion of Topo and other characters from the Aquaman comics allowed audiences to know that they were embracing the character's fictional world. Location shooting took place in early September 2021 at the Saunton Sands Beach in Devon, as well as Piccadilly in the center of Westminster, London, and in Jersey City, New Jersey that year. Later in the month, Aspect's casting was confirmed, playing Kordax, the undead king of Necrus. At this time, Rundle Park was revealed to be returning from the first film as Dr. Stephen Shin, while the following actors joined the cast: Vincent Regan as the ancient King Atlan, Graham McTavish, who briefly portrayed the character in the first film, Johnny Zhao as Stingray, an original character for the film, in the first English language feature role, and India Moore as Karshant. After shooting 95% of the film in the United Kingdom, production went to Hawaii for allocation shooting until December 9th. Nicole Kidman was confirmed to have reprised her role as Aquaman's mother Atlantis shortly after that. Finally moved to Los Angeles and officially wrapped on January 12, 2022 in Malibu. Filming was completed on time and under budget, and probably needed around a week of reshoots. And now on to post-production. Warner Brothers adjusted its release schedule in March 2022 due to the impacts of the COVID-19 pandemic on the workload of visual effects vendors. Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom was moved to March 17th, 2023, and The Flash was also moved from 2022 to 2023 to allow time for the visual effects work to be completed, while Shazam! Fury of the Gods was moved up to this film's pre-release date because it was ready for release earlier. One said that while he preferred the Christmas release timeframe for the film, he was thankful for this delay because it allowed more time to work on the visual effects and its new technology, which he called it groundbreaking, and said the film would not have made its prior release date. He had also been working on his director's cut at the time. Wilson also said that the new VFX technology is used for The Lost Kingdom and The Flash. Wilson also said that new VFX techniques were used for The Lost Kingdom and The Flash. In April 2022, Discovery Inc. and Warner Media merged to become Warner Brothers Discovery, led by President and CEO David Zaslav. The new company was expected to restructure DC Entertainment, and Zaslav began searching for an equivalent to Marvel Studios president Kevin Feige to lead the new subsidiary. That June, the final writing credits for the film were revealed. Justin McGoldrick received screenplay credit, while the duos of Juan and Justin McGoldrick and Momoa and his producing partner Thomas Sabet received story credit. The film received several test screenings in mid-2022 that were met with mixed results, which extended after was recut around then, prompting a new cut to be made. Two rounds of reshoots that took place between mid-2022 and the start of 2023, with Warner Brothers film chairs Michael DeLuca and Pam Abdi involved in editing the film. Momoa revealed in July 2022 that Ben Affleck was reprising his DC Extended Universe role of Batman/Bruce Wayne for reshoots on the Warner Brothers Studios backlot in Burbank, California. Aaron Couch of The Hollywood Reporter reported soon after that Michael Keaton had filmed a scene as his version of Bruce Wayne/Batman from director Tim Burton's Batman and Batman Returns. Keaton's version was set to be introduced in the DCEU and The Flash before that film's release was pushed to after Aquaman and the Lost Kingdoms. The scene reportedly confused audiences during test screenings, and Couch felt this was why Affleck joined the reshoots. In August, Warner Bros. Delayed the film to December 25th, 2023 to help spread out the marketing and distribution costs for its future films. This pushed the film's release to after the planned release of The Flash, which showed there was potential for Keaton's version of Batman to appear in the film instead of Affleck's. Keaton's cameo had been reportedly cut from the film by October. Around that time, Duga and Abdi told one to reduce the budget for the reshoots because the film's budget had reached $205 million during production. Software and filmmaker James Gunn were hired as the co-chairman and co-CEOs of the newly formed DC Studios at the end of the month. A week after starting their new roles, the pair began developing an 8 to 10-year plan for a new franchise called the DC Universe that would be a soft reboot of the DCEU. By mid-November, Severin had been fixing The Lost Kingdom, while Gunn had provided notes on it by the following month. Momoa said in January 2023 that he had shot scenes with a couple of actors as Batman, but wasn't sure which would be included in the final cut. After further test screenings in early 2023, Gunn consulted on the film. In April, the film's release date was moved 5 days earlier to December 20th, 2023. The reshoots concluded just before the 2023 Writers Guild of America strike began early the following month. The studios approached the third set of reshoots, which increased the film's budget, to occur in New Zealand over 5 days in mid-June with Momoa and Wilson. These reshoots were completed in 4 days. By then, both Affleck and Keaton were excluded from the latest cut of the film due to Gunn and Sever's plans for the DCU. Neither actor appeared in the final version of the film. Following the reshoots, the film's budget ultimately reached $215 million. Explaining the reshoots, one said he had to make some adjustments during production as it had been challenging to keep track of the different versions of the DCEU while remaining mindful of other plans for the franchise, but was fortunate that the Aquaman films were far removed from the rest of the DCEU films and characters. In September, the directors of the film would not be connected to any previous DCEU films, as it was certain if it was going to be released before or after The Flash, which intended to reboot the DCEU. He explained he had directed a relatively small amount of additional photography, described as a routine part of the production process, due to some actors being unavailable during some parts of principal photography. Lundgren later said the studio decided to reshoot much of the footage to rebuild it with slightly different storyline, reducing his and hers roles. In October 2023, the film's release was delayed by 2 days to December 22nd, 2023. The following month, Warner Brothers signed a new multi-year co-financing deal with Domain Capital for their theatrical films, including Lost Kingdom, through the company's $700 million fund for media and entertainment, Domain Entertainment. Kirk Murray returned as editor from the first film. Nick Davis served as the visual effects supervisor, having previously worked on The Dark Knight. Nearly each frame in the film featured visual effects, which were provided by Citizen, DNEG, Industrial Light and Magic, Moving Picture Company, Skyline VFX, and Rodeo Effects. Ooh-wee. So yeah. And now finally, let's take a look at the future of Aquaman, I guess. In December 2022, The Hollywood Reporter reported that Warner Bros. Was considering ending the Aquaman film series and casting Momoa as the character Lobo following Aquaman: The Lost Kingdom. In January 2023, Momoa said that he would always be Aquaman, but felt that he could also portray other characters. Later that month, DC Studios co-CEOs Gunn and Safran said there was potential for Momoa to reprise his role in the DCU, but a decision on Aquaman had not been made. The actor would play multiple characters, so if they did cast Momoa as Lobo, he would not portray Aquaman in the DCU. Gunn confirmed that Aquaman: The Lost Kingdom, alongside The Flash, will lead to the DCU's first film, Superman. Safran expressed interest in continuing to work with Momoa, either within the world of Aquaman or finding another character. He explained that they set a high bar for casting and felt that Momoa's Aquaman was a perfect casting. In September 2023, Gunn clarified that any DC media released before the first projects for the DCU in 2024 would not be canon to that franchise, leading commentators to question the possibility of a potential continuation moving forward. One said The Lost Kingdom would help set up a sequel and expressed interest in directing it after a long break. The following month, Variety reported that none of the main cast members from Zack Snyder's DCEU films reprised their roles in the DCU, including Momoa as Aquaman. However, Momoa had been reportedly been in talks to portray Lobo in either Superman or a solo film for the character. Ahead of The Lost Kingdom's release in December 2023, Momoa said it could be his final performance as Aquaman, explaining that the film was received well by audiences that a sequel could be possible, but he felt that it was not looking good for him reprising the role. The actor said he had a lot of ideas for the character, indicating that a younger character, such as Aquaman's son Arthur Jr., could be featured in a potential third Aquaman film. He also said that he would not be replaced with a different actor as Aquaman. Safran said at that time Momoa would always have a home at DC, and we'll see what happens with him beyond this film. So yeah, I mean, hey, who knows? Maybe Jason Momoa might come back as Aquaman in the DCU. He might not. You just never know. So yeah. So overall, I really do enjoy this film, and yeah, well, it just kind of sucked that this is the last Aquaman film in the DCEU. We'll just have to see what's going to happen to the character in the DCU, so yeah. So overall, I give Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom, I give it... probably give it... 4 Atlantean Tridents out of 5. So, yeah. It's not like the usual scoring that I do for these movies, but hey, whatever. So, yeah. Anyway. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this review. And, of course, while this is the final installment of DCEUcember, it's not going to be the last time we're looking at DC films, because next year, DCEUcember will begin with a look at next year's Superman film. So, yeah, anyway. So, yeah. So, until then, remember, everyone, I'm here to fight for truth, justice, and a better tomorrow.